So with our gorgeous Miss W, ready cutie, we were working a little earlier with some find its and some name recognition and working some recalls from our weights. But now I want to work a little bit, she's so cute, with our place behavior and working some more with those stays. I know a lot of the gentlemen have also been rocking their place and working a bit with their stays as well. So remember, for a lot of teens, staying stationary and trying to stay in one spot and vegging is challenging. So right now we're just going to build up value in going to our spot, build up that not moving has a good potential for her, and that we'll see how these beautiful stays are coming along. So right now I've just kind of set her up on her place behavior, which is right here, the raised cot. She can do this at home if she's instead got a bed or a target mat or a certain piece of furniture that you'd rather use. So you guys can get as creative as you would like. I would recommend, though, when you're practicing stays, that you're not mixing it up with the weights. So weight, for example, earlier was where she was holding back and then I called her to me. With stay, there's never a recall. I always have to go back and get my puppy from their stay. So if, let's say, I wanted to end the stay rep, I would normally feed her one, oop, I dropped it. We'll find that one later. Ready? I'll feed her her last rep, and then I would say, she's like, nope, she can smell it. All done, and then we get off from our spot. So if, for example, you are calling your puppy from stay or you're feeding them for leaving stay, you may be by accident creating a puppy that gets really confused as to which one do you want, stationary or motion. So think about stay as in, again, freeze tag with room service. The puppy is only being fed while they're in the stay and stationary. So I think about it as freeze tag with room service, like I mentioned earlier, or statue stay for safety, stationary. Oh my gosh, chewing is still always being worked on. You good? So while this beautiful girl is on her dog bed, I'm feeding several reps for building value and being stuck. Yes, we have a nice airplane going by, which is very intriguing. Yes. Oh, she says I dropped it again. That was my bad, fell out of your mouth, but also slippery. Ready? So if we lose her for a second, we might go bed. Yes. Reset her up, tell her once more to stay. So with the stay position, if you're adding distractions or duration, or maybe you're throwing in some distance, if your puppy breaks, then typically, ready? There's a snack you missed here, ma'am. Find it. But if we're going too quick with some of these steps, that tends to equal a puppy that tends to get up a lot more often. So we'll try a little down, give that a try, and we'll tell her to stay. And if she wiggles, I'm going to make sure I don't go too far from her. Yes. So I want to make sure that when we're working with any of these skills, they seem comfortable and attainable from the puppy's perspective as well. Nice. She's like, oh, too hard, so close. Ready? So we'll bring her back. Ready? Winnie, bed. Nice. And we're going to feed her for that place. Mr. B says, I would like to come back out and wrestle with Miss W. Ready? Bed. We'll do it down. Sorry, that's my bad. My brain's also melting by the end of the day. So I'm going to tell her to stay. Chewing is hard. She's so warm from romping back and forth. A wiggly worm. So again, if this was really hard for her, I'm not going to add distance. I'm just going to work the time frame. So I want her to think there's a lot of great value in being stationary. So I'm staying nearby, so I'm not making it too challenging. And I'm building value in being stuck. So before I lose the gorgeous gal to this really boring behavior that she might think is useless, I'm going to feed her. I'm going to say, all done. And then, oh my goodness, then we're going to get up and wiggle. So if, let's say, she needs a moment to get up and stretch those legs, just like I did earlier with Mr. B, I'm going to rock a few find its, help her get up and wiggle, and then eventually go back. Nice, good check-in, ma'am. And then go back to working a bit with that stay again. Ready? Where's the wild woman? We'll do another little find it with one of her Cheez-Its. Ready? Winnie. So I might work a little name recognition, rotate through a few different skills. What a smart girl. Ready? Find it. Nice. Winnie. Gorgeous. Yes. Smart girl. You're so smart. Ready? We'll go do another little find it. I bet the babies go home so tired after classes. Nice. So even right there, if you weren't able to give out the keyword, like be it her name or come when called or whatever you were working on, even feeding for the moment the puppy was doing the right thing will help create that behavior as reliable for down the road. So again, we're going to go ready, Winnie, bed. And we're going to go right into working a little bit with that stay once more. So if she wants to do this in a stationary sitting position, that's fine. If she'd rather do it down, that's okay too. You guys may find certain positions work better one day versus another. Maybe today we'll start off with the sitting, we'll tell her to stay, and we'll see how the gorgeous gal does. So if I'm going to add a little bit of difficulty, like with me moving, I might not add tons of distance from her, but add motion. So she, again, would only hear the cue word once. So if, let's say, she got up and broke, I would reset up my stay. But right now, she's still holding her sit stay, so I'm not going to say it again. She's just going to rock it from here. All the babes are very chatty today. Normally they take really nice little naps, but I think all of them are just feeling very exuberant today. So this right here is looking quite nice. She does not have to stare into my soul. So she just happens to lock eyes on you and kind of follows you like a little owl. But don't feel that you have to have constant eye contact from your puppy. If they break, ready, bed, sit, stay. So if they are giving you eye contact, that is fine, but I wouldn't make it a requirement. I just want her to think there's value in being stuck. So right now we're just feeding throughout this lovely stay duration. I want her to think that there's value in just vegging. Nice. So let's say before I were to lose her, if let's say she is getting tired, I'm going to go back and feed her for the sit stay. I'm going to say all done, and then we can get up and break. Nice. So you guys may have to tailor it and just see from your training session, where is she at for comfort range? I know some days they're going to be ready to rumble, and then other days they're going to be like, who am I and what is my name? So if there are moments where it's one of those days where nothing seems to be working the way you were hoping, go back to lowering the criteria and work something that seems attainable. So right now I'm just doing some find it, and then Winnie, great little name recognition. Yes, good job. We'll do another little find it. Well, that was a big burp. I don't know if you caught that, but she was running and she burped. Nice job, Winnie. She is too funny. Ready? Want to do another little find it? So I do like to rotate through a few different skills because it does keep them a little bit more on their toes, makes the training not seem quite as repetitive with the same thing over and over, because we don't want to keep training like boot camp. We want it to be fun and seem enjoyable from their perspective too. Nice job, cutie. Because if it was always like doing the hardest level of everything to like the perfection level, it might just be so hard that they're like giving up instantly. So make sure that while you're practicing with your lovely lady or with your gentleman at home, is that they're just as eager as when you first started throughout the session. If you're finding the session is so long that now your babe is really finding it difficult, ready, bed, then the sessions could be going way too long for duration. So I'm going to tell her once more to stay. We're going to rock just another little stay position. She's like, all that running, it's exhausting. Yes. Two, even though I had the heat on earlier, it's not revving right now. So they're just, I think it's, I want to say around 70 in here, which is not too bad. But again, for a pupperoo where they have a fur coat, oh, that's very nice. So if she wants to offer some more vegging or like relaxation where she gives herself a moment to take a pause and lie down, I'm going to feed her for the downstay instead. Yes. Because this again builds up that maybe choosing to lay down is also very beneficial. Just breaking up these little round snacks. They're nice because they're easy to break, but I break them up into like 3 little sections again. She's doing a very nice job. Yes. So you'll see right now, oh, I dropped a piece of cheese. You could also have handler error. Ready? Bed? Yes, nice job. So we're going to feed her for that. We might even try for that down again. Ready? Down. Nice. I'm going to tell her to stay. So if there's moments where your puppy is doing really nice with a certain setup, keep rocking it. If you, again, have to go back to a simpler version, always feel free. You may find sometimes you might have thought of working a certain skill, and then you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with that. We're going to just do this instead. So sometimes being flexible also makes it where it's fun and seems easy for us too. I know for me, I sometimes get stuck on, I really want to work these things, or these are my goals for the day, and I may not even get to work on any of them. It might be a completely different set. So allowing myself to also have flexibility means that I won't get frustrated with myself too for if things do have to change. Ready? Down. Nice job. So when practicing with any of the beauties at the household, if you're not feeling training for the day, then do other enrichment activities. I know enrichment was kind of like the topic for today. So if you're finding that your babe is maybe having a hard time, try to work one little rep if you can, and then we might go all done, and we can just give her a little breather, ready to go do some find its. So, and I'll just take it away so we don't get confused having to work it again. But when you are practicing with this gorgeous gal at the household, if you're having moments where she's not doing as well, going to a softer version of things may be also just as beneficial. I know I mentioned earlier for the boys is you do at times want to practice more relaxation protocols, or for example, working enrichment versus always physical activity. I know for Mr. T, I had mentioned that since he's growing really quickly, but he's a very large breed dog, he can sometimes go maybe a little too hard and not know that he's outdoing himself. So definitely gauge what your puppy's giving you for comfort range, but also through their physique. So if your puppy is seeming sore, if they're slower, obviously rule out medical issues with your vet if you think there's something going on. But otherwise, you could be dealing with a growth spurt and they're just not feeling so good. Dogs are, oh, chew them, ma'am. Dogs are really good at hiding pain or hiding ailments. So even though we may think there's no big deal, there could be something that is an underlying factor to also behavior. So if you're noticing change in your puppy or they're not as responsive as they used to be, try to always gauge what could be going on as well. So it's not them just deciding, I don't feel like listening today. It is them probably dealing with a developmental change, a physical change, or environmental change that they're finding to be hard. Nice. We'll get a little sit. Oh my gosh, chew them. Chewing is so hard. You got it? My goodness, poor baby. You good? Oh my goodness, she got it. It came back out. Oy, oy, oy. We'll use the cheese, a little softer than your Cheez-Its. So we'll get a little sit if we can. Nice. And we're just going to feed for that. What a smart girl. But for the beauties, keep rocking and rolling. I know they have another 2 weeks to go. If there are questions or concerns, or you'd like me to touch base on something like I mentioned with some of the gentlemen, always feel free to reach out and we can make sure that we're diving into those topics too. But Miss W did a very nice job with her skill set as well today. We'll probably call it a day, let the beauties all come out for some more WrestleMania because that's all they ever really wanted, and we'll go from there. But very nice job, Miss W. Look at you being brilliant. Want to do a little find it? Good job. We'll give her a little break too.